All righty, welcome into the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave, cavetalkradio.com, the Cave Talk Radio app. Great to have you aboard, Gary Ayd, and Toby is here with you too. I know you all miss Toby, station mascot right here. Toby's ready to go. He's my working cat, and I have a sleeping cat too. That would be Max. He makes an occasional appearance, but generally he doesn't really like to do all the heavy lifting of hosting a radio show. So Toby's the one that keeps me company. So we appreciate that. And we got a lot to get to today. I'll tell you what. First of all, we have Mike Mittenbauer from the OC Bombers. He'll be joining us later on in the program in about 25 minutes from now, about 10:30. We will also have Coach Mark and Coach Rob of the OC Smash. We interviewed them yesterday, so a lot of local coaching talk today. And today is the opening day for the Hudson Valley Renegades. My wife and I will be going to that game, and we will be unveiling next week how you can win tickets to upcoming Renegade home games. They start the season with a 9-game homestand against Greensboro, Aberdeen, and there might be one other team in there as well. So you don't want to miss the action at the newly named Heritage Financial Park, formerly Dutchess Stadium. And hey, check them out. It's always fun. Good stuff with the Renegades. All right, so starting out today with our opening rant, which is brought to you by Days Coffee, my go-to coffee spot here in Orange County, formulated by a retired cancer pathologist. It is healthier coffee, 85% less caffeine, but still gives you that nice kick you need, and it's better for your gut, and it tastes great, and it's a great price. And best of all, it's right in downtown Middletown. Support local businesses. Support Days Coffee, North Street. Check them out. Let them know we sent you. That's Days Coffee on North Street. So my thought today was, and one of the things, a dirty little secret about the radio business is we all listen to each other, and we all draw inspiration from each other's original thoughts, and then we kind of commandeer it and make it our own. And that's, look, there's nothing illegal about that, right? This isn't publishing where you're stealing people's actual written work. Now, if you literally go verbatim, word for word, sentence for sentence on the radio from someone else, first of all, you're in the wrong business with a memory like that. You would need to be in dictation or something. But second of all, that might be illegal. But taking the general concept and kind of creating your own version of it around that concept, that's fair game. And this is done all the time in talk radio, all the time. And I do it, others do it. It's no big deal. Well, gonna give credit where credit's due. Brandon Tierney, who I generally like, and I had mentioned on my show earlier in the week, he discussed how the Knicks, he believes the Knicks are the New York City area team most well-positioned for championship contention going forward. So it got me thinking, why don't we open the show today with sort of ranking the current state and the foreseeable future prospects of our New York area teams. So there's 6 of them, right? There's the Mets, the Yankees, the Rangers, the Islanders, the Knicks, the Nets. And if you want to throw in the Devils there too, I guess you throw in the Devils. So that would be 7 teams, right? Now, I don't know enough about hockey to accurately rank the 3 hockey teams. So I'm going to leave those out. So for the purposes of this conversation, we have the Mets, the Yankees, the Knicks, the Nets, and the Giants and the Jets. So those 6. So looking at these teams, let's start with the football teams. Let's start with the Jets. See, the Jets are complicated because they have a division that is loaded and is probably going to stay that way for the next several years. Now, they have their best team they've had in years if they can get themselves a quarterback, a.k.a. Aaron Rodgers. They cannot go into the year with Zach Wilson or whoever else, Joe Flacco. That's not okay. It's just not. But from a roster construction standpoint and from a belief in their front office, Joe Douglas is the guy. Guy is great at his job. I fully trust in Joe Douglas. The problem is that division is rough and they don't yet have a quarterback officially. So for that reason, right now, and they have a history of, well, being the Jets. So I'm probably going to have them closer to the bottom right now. We'll see. The Giants, they are in a better situation. Their division is less scary. The Redskins are terrible. The Eagles are great, of course, and the Cowboys are always good. So it's not an easy division. But the Cowboys and Giants are about equals. The Redskins are inferior, and the Eagles are awesome, right? So the thing about the Eagles, though, is because of how much go for it they've done, they may end up in a situation in the next couple of years where they have to make some tough cap casualty decisions. And there might be an opening where they might recede back a little bit. I think the Eagles are more at the top of their bell curve now and can only sustain and or slightly go down. Whereas I feel like the Jets' chief rivals in their division, the Dolphins and especially the Dolphins, are sort of on the way up. The Bills might be near the top of their bell curve too. But I think the Giants are in a slightly better position. If I put it this way, if I had to pick which division to play in the next 3 years, the AFC East or the NFC East, I would pick the NFC East. Because there's no easy out. I know everyone wants to bury the Patriots and bury Bill Belichick. But the fact of the matter is they remain a decent team. They're not great, but they're never an easy out, right? They're not an awful squad. They're going to be around 500, give or take a game or so. So they're not an easy win the way the Redskins are often an easy win. I know their records were similar last year. I understand that. But the Redskins generally are more of an easy win than not. So that brings us to the next option. The next option is we'll go with the Yankees and Mets. We'll stick with baseball. The Mets have a brutal division. Brutal. And the thing about it is it's not going to get any better. The Mets division is going to be a hard one to battle in for the foreseeable future. Now, the Mets are up for the challenge with this new owner, but it's the Phillies. I know they're off to a bad start, and the Braves, who are off to a very good start, are going to be there. Marlins, probably not. Nationals, hard to say. So I'm going to say that the Mets would be, I'm going to put them 5th on my list right now. Maybe 4th. Yankees, I just don't think they're ever going to get better again. I feel like the Yankees are comfortable being good, but probably not going to win a World Series. And as long as they're competitive every year, they're okay with that. That's the feeling I get. And their team hasn't changed much in many years. Their core abilities haven't changed much in many years. I don't see it changing in the near future. So I think this team is going to be middle of the pack as far as their prospects for New York area teams this year and in the foreseeable future. So that's going to be that. Now let's go the last two. Let's go to basketball. The Knicks and the Nets. The Nets, to me, are the ultimate wild card of the teams we're going to talk about. They just blew up a roster that they blew up a previous roster to acquire, achieved basically nothing with that roster that they acquired, and now we're essentially back where they started from all this time later, with different faces and some familiar faces. Joe Harris, of course, and Spencer Dinwiddie. But I think Mikal Bridges is every bit as good as someone like DeMar DeRozan or Paul George. I think he can be a Paul George type of player. I really, truly do. I think he already basically is. And I think this team could, depending on how things go, could become really, really good. They could even be better than the Knicks. Could be. I like their coach. I like their current roster a little bit. There's things about it I don't like. The problem I have with this team is the tail wags the dog too much. They get their taste for the sweet stuff. They want the big names. They want the back page. They want the headlines, and they blow up a good roster. And I do not believe that Sean Marks is truly in charge, nor do I believe that he is a decent guy. I think he's a vindictive guy. I think he's a petty guy. I think he's a vengeful guy. I think the whole thing with Kyrie Irving was nothing more than vengeance exerted by the Nets. I think it's as simple as that. They were vengeful against the fact that he didn't want to get the vaccine, that he didn't get the vaccine, and they never forgave him for that. So they made up reasons to really go after him. I think ultimately that's going to be a difficult sell. I think guys like Kyrie and Durant have a lot of voice in the NBA. And I think the Nets are going to be precluded for a while from landing any additional free agents of significance. So they better hope that their roster can kind of grow organically together. Now, the good news for them is they have Bridges, who has shown since he's been in Brooklyn to be capable of being a star. So now the question is, can you have appreciable growth? Because right now they're a good playoff team. They're a solid playoff team, middle of the pack in the conference. But they're not on the level of Philadelphia, Boston, Milwaukee. They may not even be as good as the Knicks and the Cavs. I think they're the wild card. They're the hardest team for me to project. The Knicks, I like their team. The problem I have with them, and the reason I don't agree with Tierney's initial statement, which is what brought this conversation up, this ranking of the New York area teams in their current and future prospects. The reason I don't agree is because I feel this team has come pretty close to its ceiling already as presently constructed. I don't see a lot of improvement. I think Mitchell Robinson is what he is. He's an excellent defensive center. He can catch lobs. He can get some putbacks. That's what he is. I think Julius Randle is what he is, an excellent player, a guy who can get a lot of points and really fill up the stat sheet, has his off nights, probably a number 2 on a championship team, maybe a number 3. That's what he is. Jalen Brunson, same thing. Great story. He's probably having the best year of his career, but I don't know that there's upside from here. I think this is what he is. Excellent player, probably a number 2 or a number 3 on a championship team. I still don't think they have their number 1 guy. And it's always hard to project who, how, and if you're going to get that guy. So as presently constructed now, where you like them, they have draft capital. I think they have some cap space. They have a guy running the front office in Leon Rose that understands how the game works because he was one of the most successful agents for all those years. And you have a good coach in Tom Thibodeau. But he is a coach that wears on people. We're entering year 4 after this year. How much longer can you keep him around? I don't know. I love Thibodeau. I think he should stay around. But he does have a track record of wearing on people. And then the last question is, with the Knicks, what about the conference? I mean, the East is top heavy. How are you going to get better than Milwaukee? How are you going to get better than Philadelphia? How are you going to get better than Boston? Those things have to change. I think it's going to be very hard to pass any of those teams, particularly Boston and Milwaukee. Philly could be a team that, depending what happens with Harden, both in terms of his free agent status and or his just aging process, they could come back to earth a little bit faster, and they're closer to earth already than the other two, in my opinion. Milwaukee's going to be there for a few years. Boston's going to be there probably even longer. You're going to have to deal with those two teams. And what can the Knicks do to get on their level? I don't think they have enough in their current roster to grow into that. I believe RJ Barrett is what he is. He's a good, solid player, but he's not a great player. So I think if I was going to handicap, putting these in order now, the most promising future to me among all the New York area teams right now, I believe, is the Giants. I think the New York Giants have a great coach. I think they figured out how to use their quarterback. They did a good job keeping their running back. They play in a tough but, doable division. And they play a brand of football, at least right now, that allows them to be in any game with any team most of the time. They'll get blown out here and there, but I think that, and football, things change the fastest, right? You can add things and lose things more rapidly than you do in other sports. So I'm going to put the Giants as my number one. Number two, I'm going to go with the Knicks at number two. They've established some credibility, a solid foundation. And I do think if ever there was a time where being a free agent and desiring to go to New York was a thing, maybe the Knicks are finally in the position to capitalize on that. We'll see. I have to take a look at who the upcoming free agents are, but I do like what they've built. I'm just concerned that they have to do more because I think they've pretty much maxed out what they already have. But that said, they have a good coach. They have a decent roster. They have a good front office. They got some cap space, I believe. I know they have draft capital. They're in a good spot. So I'm going to put them at number two. Number three, I'm going to put the Mets solely on the strength and confidence I have in their ownership. They have a pretty good roster, but it's top heavy. They missed on a few things. They seem to be snake bitten with these injuries, these weird injuries all the time. So there's a lot of things that you worry about. They're in a stacked division, but I trust their owner. So I'm going to put them at three. Number four, I'm going to put my wild card, the Nets. I have no idea which ways this is going to go. So I don't want to put them too high or too low. I'm going to put them basically right in the middle here, one spot below the center. I just think it could go either one of two ways. They could really fill out their roster, grow into it a little bit more. Bridges continues to develop, and they make a good acquisition, and all of a sudden they're a competitive team again. Or they could very easily, plateau. I just don't know. Or they could implode because I really don't trust Marks. But a lot of things could happen, so I have them as a wild card at fourth. The fourth best positioned New York area team for future and current prospects. Number five for me is gonna be the Jets, because if they get a quarterback, I think they could be in an interesting position the next couple of years. The problem is, even if they get Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson, they're in such a loaded division. I just don't know. They might even miss the playoffs by winning 11 games. So that's my concern with them. And the last team here is the Yankees. They're going to be what they're going to be. They've been what they've been for a decade plus now. And I have no expectation that that's going to change. So they're going to just continue along. So I think they are what they are. And there you go. That is my list of the New York area teams in terms of their prospects for the present and the future, inspired by Brandon Tierney talking about the Knicks as being the most well-positioned New York area team. I don't agree. I think that's the Giants. I have the Knicks second. I have the Mets third, the Nets fourth, the Jets fifth, and the Yankees sixth. So there you go. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. And next up, we have our good friend. What do we got next? We got our question of the day. That's next. And then we have Coach Mike a little bit later on, and the Bombers after that. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave.
Coffee Lovers Middletown is now officially home to the home run of our favorite beverage, Days Coffee. Days' patented blend contains approximately 85% less caffeine than other coffees, which makes it better for you, yet unlike decaf coffee, still gives you that great pickup and tastes amazing. Formulated by a retired cancer pathologist, Dr. Grant Lee, Days Coffee is fermented with a patented enzyme that until now required a complex and thus expensive sourcing and production process. With Dr. Lee's formulation, this enzyme's great health benefits can now be brought to your cup quicker, easier, and cheaper than ever before. Here's how you get a hold of this game-changing cup of joe. Go over to radioonlydeals.com and get a $4 gift certificate to Days Coffee for just $2. That's radioonlydeals.com to buy your single-use digital gift certificate for Days Coffee. Radioonlydeals.com. That's radioonlydeals.com. Enjoy the preferred coffee of the Gary Ayd Show. Enjoy Days Coffee.
Carbon fiber is coming to an NHL rink near you. I am KO, back in 1 minute with your sports question of the day.
You watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-691-7987. 800-691-7987. That's 800-691-7987.
Tovi hockey sticks are a first of their kind. Sport Techie reports Tovi sticks are the only hockey sticks made from 100% carbon fiber. The company has received conditional clearance to be used in NHL games and practices, and so far, the reviews are good. The stick guru took one of the carbon fiber ice bats for a test drive and reported that the blade seems bulletproof. He added, the blade does not accumulate snow. A quick slap on the ice and it's all clear. Question: which would you most like to test drive? A carbon fiber composite baseball bat or a carbon fiber hockey stick?
I think a stick sounds better. I actually think that sounds like an improvement over the current stuff used, which I'm not an expert on by any stretch. But I think that sounds like an actual step up. I am traditional. I want my lumber. If I'm doing baseball, I want my lumber. I want my wood. I don't want carbon fiber anything. But in hockey, that sounds right to me. It does. I would be down for that. The other thing that I'm curious about is what effect in baseball would it have on everyone's favorite analytic, exit velocity? Because I just think that there is a element of this could be dangerous, right? If we make the ball come off the bats too fast. So I think that's a consideration too. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just asking the question. I have no idea. But I would be more interested in this from the standpoint of a hockey stick. It actually sounds really good versus a baseball bat. Not a lot more to say on that today. And that's good because we have a break coming up. On the other side of the break, we will be talking with Coach Mike Mittenbauer of the OC Bombers. Later on, we'll have Coach Mike, Coach Mark, and Coach Rob of the OC Smash. Right now, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll hear from Coach Mike. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow. and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave. I am here now with the head coach of the OC Bombers 12U team, the first-year group, Mike Mitterbauer. Mike, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Absolutely, it's good stuff. And, you know, it's interesting. In talking to a lot of the coaches and players, one of the things that I think has been sort of a theme here is I very seldom talk to a first-year person. It seems like a lot of people have been involved with the organization for years at a time. You're no different, going into your third year, first year with the 12U kids. How's that been? Has that been a significant adjustment going from, I know it's just 2 years in age, but at that age, it's a big difference in the kids, I would imagine.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a big jump. The pitching mound, the distance is... the balls are moved to the 12-inch balls as opposed to the 11-inch balls. And just when we face older 12U players, the difference from a girl who's 12, you know, maybe even 13 by this point in the season, and like a 10 or 11-year-old is huge. So there have been quite a few adjustments that we've had to make. But, you know, a credit to our girls, they've been adjusting pretty quickly.
Do you find from the coaching perspective that you become more technical during practice and maybe a little bit more focused on technical aspects of mechanics or swings or throwing motions or anything like that with the older group than maybe you were with younger kids?
Absolutely. You see it again with this, you know, as you move into this age group here, that you fundamentally you have to be really on point in all aspects of the game. You know, hitting, pitching, defense, running the bases. So we are focusing on being tighter with our mechanics than we were at the 10U level. The 10U level, you know, is similar, you know, in teaching them the game, but now it's just the demands are higher. So I feel like we just need to work on some of these things more, you know, technically we have to be a little more sound.
Now, as you move up in levels, is there a different expectation among the parents and players in terms of playing time? Like, do you tighten your rotations a little bit, or is everyone still kind of playing a similar amount, or are you really tightening it up?
Yeah, we're starting to tighten it up a little more. I feel like the girls have a better understanding of, you know, where they fit in their roles on the team. And as they mature, I think they understand that, you know, doing their roles, doing their parts is better for the team as a whole. And I think we're very fortunate in that, you know, the girls have a really good team first mentality. They get along really well. That's like maybe one of my favorite parts of this team is that how much they pull for each other and they play for each other. So yes, we're having to like tighten our rotations and girls are starting to like focus in on, you know, one position or certain spots in the lineup, but the girls have been supportive of each other. So it's made the transition easier.
That's really great. And we're talking with Mike Mitterbauer here on the Gary Ayd Show, coach of the first year 12U squad for the OC Bombers. Mike, what about if you were to put a ballpark percentage on it, how many of the girls that are currently under your watch with the 12U squad have you coached at the 10U level? Like what percentage of them?
Pretty much all of them, 100%.
That's cool.
There are a few girls who were practice players last year, so they, you know, practiced with us and they got into some tournaments towards the end of the season, and now they've come on as full-time players. So, you know, if I include those practice players who did have some time with us last year, 100% of the players, you know, came back. That's pretty
cool. So that makes it a whole lot easier.
Oh, for sure.
Now tell me going back to the beginning here, tell me your own background with softball, baseball. What got you into coaching with the Bombers a few years ago to begin with?
I started off with Little League. I started coaching Little League about 10 years ago. And, you know, I have older sons who play travel ball. So I've, you know, been a parent of travel ball for years, and then I got into, you know, part-time baseball travel ball coaching. I was also became president of. I was a board member of our local Little League, and I became president of our Little League as well. So just through the involvement of Little League and my older son's travel baseball teams, that's you know, how I met Gina from the OC Bombers a few years back. And then when my daughter became 10, or even before then, we started speaking about, you know, putting together a team and working with another coach who's now the older 12U coach, Danielle Jordan. So we kind of started out together 2 years ago with a mixed 10U team. And then, you know, she focused on the older girls and I took the younger ones.
There you go. Now, did you have any experience with softball prior to a couple of years ago?
Not much. Mostly just through Little League.
Yep.
But that's the extent of it pretty much.
What's the obviously the sports are very similar, but they're not the same. What's been the biggest adjustment for you in terms of maybe some nuance of the sport in terms of coaching and teaching it, given that it's obviously different than baseball?
I think just like the small ball aspect of softball is so prevalent to be successful, especially in tight games. Having a real good understanding and command of small ball stealing bases, putting down bunts, and also the game is at a quicker pace. I mean, with the shorter bases, for example, in the infield, you know, the infielders have to be very quick with their plays. There's for more time with the longer bases. So I just think the small ball game and just the quicker pace of the game are two things that stand out to me.
Very good. Now, speaking from your perspective as a coach, if you were going to meet with a potential family member who was maybe looking at putting a child into a travel ball for the first time, what would you sell to them as the value proposition of choosing the Bombers specifically?
For choosing the Bombers, I would say that, you know, as an organization, and I see it mostly through my team, but they're just like very tight-knit groups. You know, when you have some travel teams, you have just a collection of players who don't necessarily know each other or who aren't that invested in each other. And I think with the Bombers, you see a lot of the girls have been with the program for years, been with the same coaches for years, and you just kind of create like a family environment. So it's not just softball, but you know, these are girls that you hang out with, or you know, you have your group text with, and you know, it's more than just playing ball. You become friends and family, and it makes the experience much more enjoyable. I mean, there's enough pressure playing, so
Sure.
Having girls you can lean on and who are like your friends, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, it's interesting. That is a common theme when I asked some variation of that very question. And one thing that kind of dawned on me today when I was speaking with one of the parents is that I think that, as you get to be an adult, it's pretty common to become a little bit socially isolated. You get in your work routine, you have your family, you got work, you got family, you got work, and
Right.
you can often really neglect your own social life. And it sounds to me, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but it sounds to me that it's not just the kids that build new friendships and create a family atmosphere. The parents who have kids in it for many years at a time that kind of grow up together, the parents themselves after a while become friends.
Absolutely. And that's very important. You want you spend a lot of time, all your extra time is spent on the field, especially in the spring and summer. You're driving, all over the tri-state area or even further sometimes. And these people become, your friends. So it's good that you have parents that get along with each other and like spending time with each other. And again, on my team, I feel fortunate that we have a great group of parents, a great group of families who really pull for each other and get along with each other.
And that's awesome. And the one thing I'll close with this, one other observation I've had is that and I'm curious your thoughts, is I've noticed that a lot of the the parents a lot of the people who are involved as coaches, I should say, not parents, as coaches, are not necessarily parents of players on the team they coach, which isn't typical, especially at the Little League and other levels. You see a lot of, parents coaching because they want to coach their kid. And as opposed to with the Bombers, it seems there's a lot of people who are coaching because they want to coach, which is quite a distinction.
Sure. I mean, on our team, we do. I have a daughter who's on the team, and the other coaches have players on the team as well.
Sure. Oh, it happens, but there's a lot of coaches I've noticed who are also coaching even after their kid ages out or got into it before their kid was eligible. So it's their kid kind of passes through, which is cool. I mean, it purports to it speaks to what you were saying, which is these people become your friends and your family. They kind of grow as a group.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think Gina also develops relationships with the coaches so that they're willing to stay on and work with her and teach kids. And I think everyone who, parent of a kid or not, I think everyone who's involved just really enjoys the game, has a passion for teaching kids.
And that's what I was trying to get at. Yeah. I've observed that through some of my other interviews. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. It's definitely noticeable from my perspective anyway. So,
yeah, no, I agree. Everyone loves the game and loves, working with the girls, and it's just a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
Well, good luck. When's your next game? When are you guys playing next?
We have a little break, but next Sunday, April 16th, we play a round robin, 3-game round robin in Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
So we do that next weekend.
All right.
Not this weekend, the weekend of the 16th.
Weekend, the following weekend. Awesome. All right. Well, best of luck with it and enjoy the time off. All right.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
All righty. That's Michael Mittelbauer, and this is the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on the Cave.
Coffee Lovers Middletown is now officially home to the home run of our favorite beverage, Days Coffee. Days patented blend contains approximately 85% less caffeine than other coffees, which makes it better for you, yet unlike decaf coffee, still gives you that great pickup and tastes amazing. Formulated by a retired cancer pathologist, Dr. Grant Lee, Days Coffee is fermented with a patented enzyme that until now required a complex and thus expensive sourcing and production process. With Dr. Lee's formulation, this enzyme's great health benefits can now be brought to your cup quicker, easier, and cheaper than ever before. Here's how you get a hold of this game-changing cup of joe. Go over to radioonlydeals.com and get a $4 gift certificate to Days Coffee for just $2. That's radioonlydeals.com to buy your single-use digital gift certificate for Days Coffee. radioonlydeals.com. That's radioonlydeals.com. Enjoy the preferred coffee of the Gary Ayd Show. Enjoy Days Coffee.
All right, we're back. Good stuff from Coach Mike there. Good job by him. And thank you for joining us. Now it's time to hear from Coach Mark and Coach Rob. I interviewed both of these gentlemen yesterday for the OC Smash. Here they are together, one after the other, for your listening pleasure. All righty, we're here with Mark Llewellyn, who is one of the OC Smash coaches the 8 and under squad. And Mark, welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Gary. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Pleasure's all mine. Now, I'm curious, how long have you been coaching with the Smash?
So I'm going to say 3 years. I'm going to say 3 years. I started with a bunch of the kids I have now, with the 5 and 6 year old program that's purely instructional.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I met several of these boys, and then carried them through when they became 7-year-olds. We did play in 8U last year, but in a lower tier.
Mm-hmm.
So we could try to compete, which we did okay. And then now the team has become true 8-year-olds. And so I've stayed with this group, and along with several of the other guys that coach the team. So now we're here at 8U with a good group and a good bunch of coaches. So I think 3 years in total.
There you go. Now, I've noticed in talking to some of the other coaches that you guys tend to obviously rotate who coaches what levels each year. And I'm curious how much, if any, communication happens between the various coaches in terms of comparing notes on players that maybe someone had last year that you have this year, or vice versa. How often does that go
on? Well, I mean, I think because all the kids, move up each year, I wouldn't say that
that's not that common.
I would run it right. I would run into players that maybe say Scott Seabury, who coaches 9U, may have seen. But to speak to the communication with coaches, we have a great network of coaches, and if you just, I've talked to, many guys who have, been in my shoes now the year before, and kind of picked their brain on some things on teams, on scheduling, on all kinds of things. So
sure. I
think there's always something to be said for just having the experience of being there and doing it. So
what's your own background with baseball and or coaching prior to Smash? Did you play high school ball or what?
Yeah, I played high school baseball. I played, obviously preceding that, Little League and Senior League. And I did play Babe Ruth, and that was the end of my career there. But my dad was a very, very big in Minnesink baseball for a long time. And so he, I used to see him coach for a long, long, long time. And then I guess several years ago, I have a 12-year-old in OC Smash program as well. And so a few years ago, I had the chance to hop on as an assistant with which is now the 12U program. Mm-hmm. So I've been with them as well. And so that kind of, opened up, my love for coaching and see how fun it is. And then my youngest son started to come up into the program. Like I had said, we were talking earlier, but the 5 and 6 year olds, with the instructional program. And then I guess, Rich Monda had asked me to start that up. And then I teamed up with our other manager, Ramsey Sullivan. So that's kind of, that's how I guess my coaching lineage. Yeah, that's my story. So
all right, good. That's a good story. Now, did you, I guess, because your dad was a coach, I guess was this something that you needed much convincing to do, or was this something that you kind of always thought would be cool and then the opportunity just presented itself?
Yeah, no, I think I always saw how much he enjoyed it. And then I had one of my younger brothers was a very good player, and he used to help my dad coach. He actually played in college. And so, when the opportunity came, I took it. I mean, I was always, I guess, because of who I am, I was always nervous about, would I do a good enough job? Would I know enough? Would I be able to learn enough and teach the kids well enough? And I mean, I guess, you do the best you can. And, I'm always trying to learn. We have, like I said, a great network of coaches. And so I always pick a lot of brains. And I love the game of baseball. It's as
wonderful,
as simple as it is. It's a very complex game too.
Yes.
And there's a lot of parts to baseball. So, so far it has worked out. And I feel that myself and the guys that I coach with are, doing a good job of teaching, this game to our team. So it's been good. It's been good.
So tell me about the team this year a little bit. You guys have a couple of games this weekend, right? In
yes.
I guess home games basically.
Yes.
What do you think about for this weekend? What are you looking at?
Well, it's going to be tough. We played our first game on Tuesday, and we are in the top division of the 8U bracket, and we played a team that was a tier below. First game of the season, it was a 7-5 win. There's things that we obviously need to work on. We can always work on, but this team this weekend is also one of the top tier divisions. So you never know what you're going to get or who you're going to see. It's a double header, so it's going to be a long day for the boys. I just hope at their age that they can hold out for that long. But the team is coming from about an hour away, so they had asked if we could just play 2, so we agreed. And so we need all hands on deck. We need a lot of the kids to pitch, because there's at this age level, there's a maximum pitch limit that they cannot exceed. So we're going to need a lot of arms. We're going to need a lot of energy, and hopefully a lot of plays and good bats. So,
what is that limit? I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So at the 8U level, there is a 50 pitch hard max stop for kids, and it's put in place for safety.
Of course.
It's early in the year too. So you had some kids last game. You could tell that their arms get tired quick. It's early. We haven't been outside too much. The kids haven't had a chance. It's not really, the real warm weather like end of spring and summer, which is a little easier to play ball in. We did have a beautiful day Tuesday, but so we're going to see how it goes. We're going to do our best. And, we just want to play good baseball, win or lose. We just want to play good baseball, and let the chips fall where they may.
There you go. I'll get you out of here on this. What's been your most vivid or fondest memory since you've been associated with the Smash?
Oh boy. It's a tough. Fondest memory. Well,
or most vivid.
I mean, I think I would probably have to say, since we just started up this year, so far, and there was a couple memories of some tournament play last year that where I felt for a group that was a year younger, 7-year-olds, just that played a brand of baseball sometimes that really just was unbelievable to watch and fun. Like you're pinching yourself because you're watching the game and saying, wow, these are 7-year-olds doing this. And, pretty neat, really neat. And I guess the other thing is, that I guess the other thing that really is pretty cool is, you're kind of at the helm of a group of, we have, we got a great group of kids, great group of coaches and parents. And, but you have the opportunity to kind of mold this group, and when you kind of do your breakdown before practice or after practice or before a game or after, I think those moments where you're giving your little talks, your pep talks, or you're trying to wrap up things on a game or a practice, and all their eyes are right on you, and that's that's something that I don't, that's pretty cool,
Yeah,
and,
it's not something you take lightly.
No, these kids, they're looking to you for leadership and guidance, and and it's kind of neat that they maybe they don't know it, but they trust you with that. So
Sure.
That's something that I don't take for granted, and I think is really a great thing about being a coach. And if your heart's in the right place, then the work is easy. So that's the way we try to approach it.
There we go. Well, best of luck this weekend at home. Try to get some wins, and more importantly, try to have some fun and, like you said, play good baseball.
Thanks, Gary. I appreciate it.
Alrighty, that's Mark Llewellyn, and this is the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this, here on The Cave.
Coffee Lovers Middletown is now officially home to the home run of our favorite beverage, Days Coffee. Days patented blend contains approximately 85% less caffeine than other coffees, which makes it better for you, yet unlike decaf coffee, still gives you that great pickup and tastes amazing. Formulated by a retired cancer pathologist, Dr. Grant Lee, Days Coffee is fermented with a patented enzyme that until now required a complex and thus expensive sourcing and production process. With Dr. Lee's formulation, this enzyme's great health benefits can now be brought to your cup quicker, easier, and cheaper than ever before. Here's how you get a hold of this game-changing cup of joe. Go over to radioonlydeals.com and get a $4 gift certificate to Days Coffee for just $2. That's radioonlydeals.com to buy your single-use digital gift certificate for Days Coffee. Radioonlydeals.com. That's radioonlydeals.com. Enjoy the preferred coffee of the Gary Ayd Show. Enjoy Days Coffee.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave. Rob Herman's with me. We're talking OC Smash 12U Navy. You guys have the plum assignment this year, Rob, going to Cooperstown off this week. So let's start there. When you're going, and I'm imagining the kids are just like besides themselves with excitement.
Yes, they really are, Gary. Yeah, we're going August 8th through the 14th. So the boys are really excited about it. The families are also really excited about it as well. She's looking forward to having a great week out there. Great experience overall. To be up in Cooperstown, play some of the best teams from all over the country. I get to go to the Hall of Fame and things like that. So it should be fun.
Will you guys get to check out the exhibits in the Hall of Fame while you're there for the 4 days?
Yes, we will. I'm not sure exactly when, but they tickets are included, and we'll be able to definitely attend the Hall of Fame as a team, and families will be able to join us as well. So looking forward to that. Should be fun.
That's really cool. Now, I know you've been there, for the Hall of Fame before. Have you ever coached a game on that field? Is it Doubleday Field? Is that where you guys are going to be playing?
Correct. Yeah. I think we're playing in All-Star Village, which is a little further out from there, but okay. I've been there, never coached there. It will be my first time up there in Cooperstown. So, so looking forward to that. But we'll be at All-Star Village.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I know one of the teams went last year too, and that's really awesome. What's your favorite part of have you been telling the kids anything about Cooperstown, like what to expect, like how the museum looks? Like, have you been kind of filling their imaginations a little bit?
A little bit. I mean, it's funny. The boys bring it up more than I do, to be quite honest.
I'm sure they do.
I've heard them. Yeah, they talk about it. Forgot where we were, but I know we were playing a team, and they were talking. Oh, you guys are going to Cooperstown this year and things like that. So, they're excited about it. I think just being able to hang out. There's the pin trading, the actual village where they get to hang out with all the boys from all these other teams. But they talk about it a lot more than I do. That's for sure. They're excited about it.
I'm sure they are. And you may know this, you may not have some of them, I'm guessing, been to Cooperstown themselves, some of the players.
I think a couple have gone, on their own,
right.
But I don't have it. Yeah, none of the kids have played up there.
None that played, but a few have been there,
yeah.
just with their families. Correct. Or whatever. Yeah, that's That's pretty cool. What about this season? I know you're off this week. You're 1-1. What kind of team are you seeing this year on the field?
So we played a couple of games, and it was nice to get out on the field and get outside again after being inside, for winter workouts. But we got off to a nice start in our first game, and what I like, is that we're just really aggressive. Not only at the plate but on the base paths. We're still a lot of bases this weekend. It's just trying to form an identity of just taking advantage of our opportunities and playing some small ball, moving runners over, bunting and things like that. So. So a lot of good things, gave everyone an opportunity to play multiple positions over the 2 games. A lot of kids pitched as well, had about six guys go out there over the 2 games and pitch. So just wanted to get a feel for, just getting out there again and seeing what I have.
As the season progresses, will you, how many pitchers will you typically use in a given game or a given tournament?
Yeah, I mean, a tournament is a little different. You got to kind of go in, trying to balance that out. But on a given game, if the kid can go, I'll go as far as he takes us, in a given game. So he can pitch 4 or 5 innings and that'll be great. But I want to have about 4 starters that I can kind of throw out there, and then the other guys can just kind of fill in as needed, because we need as many arms as possible, especially playing in these tournaments, whether it's Ripken or Cooperstown. You need as many arms as possible. So it's about developing them over time so that, they can get used to that environment.
How, with your team this year, have you, well, first of all, let me ask you this. How long have you been coaching with the Smash?
I've been with Smash since basically its inception. I've been coaching with Smash for a long time. My son was 6 when he started. So I've been coaching with Smash since for 6 years now. Wow, yeah. Time flies. So yeah.
How many of these kids have you had before at earlier stages? I'm guessing most of them, right?
Yeah, about five or so on the team now, and then the other half are newer kids that joined us over the fall and now in the spring. But yeah, about half I've coached before.
Do you find, I know they're pretty young still, but do you find that some of those players who you've had before take on sort of like almost like a on-field leadership role, like kind of trying to teach the new kids like anything? Like, do you like observe that ever?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have a couple of kids, Connor, Max. These guys, they take over from the beginning of when we get to the field. They warm the kids up. They're doing stretches. They're leading by example every step of the way.
So they're trying to take your job.
Yeah. Maybe who knows? That's what it sounds like. But you gotta teach them responsibility, and it's great to see. But yeah, maybe that's what they want to do at some point. So that's good.
I just finished listening to a book about Vince Lombardi, and I got a kick out of the fact that all of the players called him the most useless person on the team on game days, because everything he did was all about like preparation and practice and development and habit forming and all this stuff. Like his work was done on Saturday, and like Sunday, like he just goes over there and yells like he doesn't serve any purpose on Sunday. That's absolutely, it was pretty funny.
Absolutely.
So anyway,
makes sense.
Now let me ask you this: as far as some of the newer kids, is there anyone in particular that has kind of stood out to you that's been like a really cool addition to the team? Maybe like a new pitcher or a bat, something that maybe you needed?
Yeah, I mean, we have Al Fusco, who joined us over the winter break, and he's a big bat. He can also pitch for us, plays catcher, first base, plays multiple positions as well. We have Jason, who plays multiple positions. Steven, also a catcher and plays multiple positions. So the 3 kids that we added over the winter have been really wonderful additions. So, they've been great, and they can do multiple things, which is what we're looking for. And they're great kids at the same time. So
that's awesome. Now, at what stage of development do you start maybe specializing the kids a little bit in terms of, positions that maybe they're a little bit better at than others, whether it be pitchers or fielders?
Right. I mean, I think right around 12. I mean, this is probably the year going forward, as they start, going into play modified baseball and high school baseball, where, there's certain positions that certain kids are just not going to be able to play, So I think it starts now. And so, but at the same time, you got to see what they can do and what they can't do, and then to just kind of go from there. But yeah, I think it starts about this age, within the next year or two, where they can, start honing in on those skills and that position.
Last couple of things with that. Do you ever, as you kind of start getting some of these kids to play like a set position or two, do you ever have any like difficulty or hard conversations with someone who maybe really wants to do something, but maybe it's just not in their best interest? Like, is that something you have to deal with?
I haven't yet, because again, the kids are still playing multiple positions.
Right.
They're kind of all over, but I can imagine as the year goes on, and maybe even next year, as we continue, I can see having that tough conversation. And I think it's, really about trying to focusing in on what they do well, and what they can succeed in, and I think that has to be the kind of the conversation. What's been,
I get you out of here with this. What's been your favorite? You've been there for, like you're saying, 6 years now, coaching with different levels of the Smash. What's been your favorite or most pronounced memory, or even a couple of them from your time as a coach?
Oh, wow, that's tough. I mean, about a year and a half ago, we won the championship for the summer season. So that was nice to be able to finally put it all together after a few years of falling short. So that one kind of sticks out, where we won that summer championship. So that was nice.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, congratulations. And you guys are back in action next week, right?
Yes, we're playing in a tournament out in New Jersey. So that should be fun. It'll be our first tournament together as a team. So really looking forward to that.
What part of Jersey are you guys going to?
They haven't announced it yet, but it's in central New Jersey.
Like Sussex County or somewhere, like Morris County, somewhere around there? Okay.
Correct. Yeah, it's a USABL tournament. So looking forward to that.
Awesome. Well, best of luck with that. Enjoy the week off, and maybe we'll talk to you again later in the season. All right, man?
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob. That is Rob Herman. This is the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-57. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave. It's great to have you aboard. Gary Ayd here with you. And we got a lot of good stuff to get to. But right now, it's time for the top 5.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for King Talk Radio's Top 5.
Alrighty, thank you, Jack George. And the top 5 today is the top 5. What do we got today? What do we want to do for the top 5? I had a couple here today. Let me look at my notes here real quick. We're going to do today, let's do the top 5 playoff stories to watch in the NBA. There we go. That'll work. Okay, so there's a number of them here. First and foremost, you have to worry about the New York Knicks. What are they going to do against Cleveland? This is the only series, first round series, that I believe was attainable, winnable, I should say, that they could have gotten in the first round. This was the only one. They weren't going to beat Boston. They weren't going to beat Philly. They weren't going to beat Milwaukee. And they weren't going to get anyone else. They might have had a chance at the Nets. That was the other potential option here that could have worked out. But it didn't happen. So this is the best case scenario, basically, for the Knicks. So the question is, are they going to be able to, I guess, win this series? I think they can. I think they could just as easily lose, but I think they can easily win as well. So that's going to be my first question, my first storyline. How do the Knicks fare in the playoffs? Number 2 is, what about the Lakers? I still think they struggle mightily against the Clippers. The Clippers beat them almost every time they play them the last several years. I question how they'll do against Phoenix. We might get an answer, at least a partial answer to that tonight. They're playing the Suns tonight with the wing mobility of Durant and Booker. That's going to be a challenge. But I think the Lakers have at least a questionable opportunity to perhaps make some noise in the West. I think the amount that they're able to keep fresh and healthy, I think it's going to be very important for them to not only get that 6th seed, but also find a way to win their first round series early. This is an older team. Their best player is a 20-year veteran. It's crazy to say. And their second best player is a guy made out of plexiglass. So you want to win series early. You don't want to extend series as best you can. And I don't know if they're quite good enough to win series in 4 and 5 games. That's the question I have. That's the storyline. But I also think if they start having their first round series, let's say they do get the 6th seed, which is a big presumption right now. As we sit at this moment, they are in the 7th seed, a game behind the Warriors. Now, the Warriors are playing someone not that great tonight. I think Golden State's playing. Hold on a second. Let me see. I had the schedule here a second ago because that seat is still up for grabs. Golden State is playing they are playing Sacramento. So Golden State could lose tonight. It's very possible. And they're in Sacramento. And the Lakers are playing Phoenix, and they're home. If the Lakers beat Phoenix and Golden State loses to Sacramento, the Lakers, I believe, would move into the 6th seed. I don't know the tiebreaker. I'd have to look at that. But they basically have 2 games to make up 1 against Golden State. And the Clippers are a game up on the Lakers as well. Again, I don't know the tiebreaker. So that 6th seed is still very much in question. Because if you don't get the 6th seed, then you have to do the play-in. Now, the good news is right now for the Lakers, they are a full game clear of Minnesota, who has the 9th seed, and well clear of Oklahoma City in 10. Oklahoma City couldn't catch them, in fact. That means that if they don't get the 6, as the 7, they'd only have to win 1 game and they would be in. They'd have 2 chances to win 1 game. And they would be playing the Thunder in the first round of the round robin, the 7 versus 10 and the 8 versus 9. So should they win that game, they would be in. If they didn't win that game, they would play the winner of the winner of New Orleans and Minnesota, I believe. Because the 7 and 8 only have to win one to get in. The 9 or 10 would have to win 2 in a row. So if Minnesota were to beat New Orleans, let's say, and the Lakers were to lose to Oklahoma City would be the Lakers would move on to play New Orleans. That's what it would be. And the winner of that would get in. And the two winners, Minnesota and Oklahoma City, would go against each other. Nope, I got that wrong. There we go. Okay, now I understand. Okay, so this is how this will work. The higher seed always plays the lower seed. So let's say the Lakers lost to the Thunder, and then the Timberwolves beat the Pelicans, right? The two high seeds lost. Then the Lakers would play the Timberwolves, and the Thunder would play the Pelicans. No, the Lakers would play the Thunder, and the Pelicans would play the Timberwolves again. So that's how that works. Basically, the Lakers have to win 1 out of 2, is what it boils down to, if they don't get the 6th seed. So that's my second storyline. My third storyline would be, are the Denver Nuggets for real? Can they win? Are they able to win in the playoffs and really get to that level where they want to be? They want to be in the NBA Finals. Look, I don't think anyone in the West is winning the championship this year. I'll just tell you that right now. The West is not going to win the title this year. The top 3 teams in the East are all better than any team in the Western Conference. I truly believe that. I think anyone that advanced from the East, I can't imagine it's anyone but Boston, Philly, or Milwaukee. And any one of those 3 teams, I fully believe, will beat anyone that could come out of the West. Anybody. That's Phoenix, Golden State, Memphis, Sacramento, Denver, whoever you want. But Denver is an interesting team. They're going to, in all likelihood, finish with the best record in the Western Conference. But how do you feel about them matchup-wise against a lot of these teams? I think they can beat the Grizzlies, but they're not going to play the Grizzlies in the first round. I'm not worried about the first. They're going to play probably, I'm guessing probably the Timberwolves, if I had to take a guess, in the first round right now. And they'll beat the Timberwolves. Then the question is, in later rounds, depending how the seeding shakes out, are they going to, do you feel confident that they'll beat the Kings? I don't. Do you feel confident that they'll beat the Suns, Clippers, or Warriors? Not really. What about the Lakers or the Grizzlies? I'm more confident with those two, particularly the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies are too undisciplined and miss too many free throws. The Nuggets aren't great with free throws either, but they shoot such a great percentage from the field and the three-point line. They kind of make up for it. I think the Nuggets, from a matchup standpoint, struggle with a couple of these teams. And it's because they have 2 fatal flaws with their roster. They don't have enough defensive-minded wings, athletic wings, to deal with guys like Durant and Booker and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and Klay Thompson and people like that. Nor do they have a shot blocker to cover drives to the basket effectively. And I think those 2 things, coupled with their iffy free throw shooting, are going to eventually be their undoing. I think they could beat Memphis. I think they could beat Sacramento. I think they'll struggle with Phoenix. I think they'll struggle with the Clippers. I think they could beat the Warriors. I think they'll struggle somewhat with the Lakers. I don't like their matchups. I think there's a lot of teams that I feel uncomfortable, more uncomfortable than I should for a 1 seed against from a matchup perspective. My fourth storyline in the NBA playoffs this year is, what are the Brooklyn Nets going to be? I mean, they're their 6th seed right now. They're probably going to hang there, although the Heat still have a shot at it, 1 game back, with 2 to play. How are they going to perform in the playoffs? Who's their go-to guys? Is Bridges, right? It's got to be Bridges, Dinwiddie. They got some shooting with Davis, with Harris, rather, excuse me. They have some other shooting with Curry. This is a pretty good team. And I'll tell you this, if it's the 3-6 matchup, Philadelphia, that's a tough matchup for the Nets, though. It really is. Joel Embiid is going to absolutely annihilate their front line. Now, the question for Philly is going to be, who do you guard Bridges with? Where is your wing athleticism? Thibault, they're going to miss him in this series, I think. Harris is a willing defender, but he's not an elite defender. Harden is now a willing defender, but hardly an elite defender. I mean, where are you going to get defense from on the wing? I know Embiid will be able to handle the paint, but where are we getting wing defense from against Bridges? Where are we getting wing defense from on those closeouts in those corners, whether it's Harris or Curry or someone else? That's a question. And I think that the Nets could make it an interesting series. I would likely, and I'll have more of this next week when we do our official predictions once we have all the matchups set, but I would likely look at that as probably a 6-game series at least right now. I could change my mind. I might change my mind, but that's where I'm at right now. So anyway, so far my stories are, what about the Knicks? Can they beat the Cavaliers? What about the Lakers? Can they get the 6th seed? And are they able to win series quickly enough once in the playoffs to allow their older team to remain fresh throughout the playoffs? Are they good enough to win series quickly? That was number 2. Number 3 was the Denver Nuggets. I have a lot of questions about their matchups against certain Western Conference teams. Sacramento, Phoenix for sure, LA Clippers for sure, Lakers for sure. Those 3 in particular. Number 4, Brooklyn Nets. They're a wild card. I don't know. I think Philly's better than them. I think Embiid's going to give them a hard time. I think Embiid beats them in that series, but I think the Nets have a lot of shooting and a lot of wing athleticism and depth that the 76ers don't really have, and it could cause them some problems. And number 5, which team is coming out of the Eastern Conference? Is it Philly, Boston, or Milwaukee? To me, that is the ultimate storyline because the winner of those 3, the survivor of those 3, in my opinion, is going to be your NBA champion. I would be shocked if they weren't. Totally shocked. So that's my top 5. Number 1, can the Knicks beat Cleveland? Number 2, can the Lakers win series quickly enough and stay fresh enough and make noise in the playoffs? Number 3, does Denver have enough roster versatility, particularly with wing perimeter defenders and interior shot blockers, to hold off athletic teams in their conference? Number 4, what about the Brooklyn Nets? Bit of a wild card. And number 5, who comes out of the Eastern Conference? Is it the Cavs? I'm sorry, is it the Bucks? Is it the Celtics? Or is it the Sixers? That is my question. Those are my top 5. And there you have it. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got some baseball to get to. And we will also talk a little bit about some news you can use. That's coming up next. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Coffee Lovers Middletown is now officially home to the home run of our favorite beverage, Days Coffee. Days' patented blend contains approximately 85% less caffeine than other coffees, which makes it better for you, yet unlike decaf coffee, still gives you that great pickup and tastes amazing. Formulated by a retired cancer pathologist, Dr. Grant Lee, Days Coffee is fermented with a patented enzyme that until now required a complex and thus expensive sourcing and production process. With Dr. Lee's formulation, this enzyme's great health benefits can now be brought to your cup quicker, easier, and cheaper than ever before. Here's how you get a hold of this game-changing cup of joe. Go over to radioonlydeals.com and get a $4 gift certificate to Days Coffee for just $2. That's radioonlydeals.com to buy your single-use digital gift certificate for Days Coffee. Radioonlydeals.com. That's radioonlydeals.com. Enjoy the preferred coffee of the Gary Ayd Show. Enjoy Days Coffee.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All right, so the Mets bring up Francisco Alvarez. I'm assuming he'll be in the lineup for today's season opener, which would be home opener, I should say, which would be really, really cool. Look, I wanted them to have him up from the beginning. This reminds me a little bit, the injury to Navarez, which has precipitated this call-up, reminds me a little bit of how I was feeling at the start of this past football season when my favorite team, the 49ers, who had a quarterback in place in Trey Lance that I absolutely think is garbage and totally was not the right time to draft or right situation to draft him, gets hurt, and it forced them to go with initially Jimmy G. I was like, good, that's the best thing that could have happened to them. This is how I feel about the Mets right now. This is the best thing that could have happened to them. Navarez goes down, Alvarez comes in, perfect upgrade right out of the gate. I totally feel that way. I didn't like the slow roll with this guy. I question whether maybe or not it could be related to service time and all that manipulation that goes on. We know about that. Because here's the thing. I think there are two factions still within the Mets organization. I think there is the Steve Cohen faction, the fan, the guy who's ready to go out and do what's necessary to win games and spend money and bring in the best players and do what's necessary. But I think Steve Cohen, counterbalancing his obvious fandom and willingness to spend as necessary to get the job done, is a generally good and prudent business practice, which is deferring to the people of your employ on issues in which you've deputized them to be the experts on and manage. And that's where I believe the second faction comes into play, that faction being the Billy Epler faction, which I believe is still unfortunately influenced heavily by the legacy of Sandy Alderson, who is the ultimate penny pincher. And I think there is conflicting halfway with this Mets team. You look at the payroll and think, how is that possible? But if you look at why they didn't get Carlos Correa, I believe they didn't get Carlos Correa because this is what happened. This is what I'll always believe, unless it's proven otherwise some way, somehow down the line, which I doubt it will be. This is what I think happened. Cohen has a good relationship with Scott Boras. The deal with the Giants fell through. Middle of the night, Boras calls Cohen. Cohen's on vacation, gets the deal done right away. The fan in him kicks in. He gets excited. He's like, yeah, let's do it. Boom. Here's the contract. Done. We're finished. Then things cool down, realizes he overstepped his general manager, goes to Epler and says, hey, this is what I did. I'm sorry. I kind of got excited. You make the decision and I'll support it. Epler, being the sort of analytic nerd, not great talent evaluator that he is, probably was like, nah, we're too much risk, blah, blah, blah. And that's how the deal fell apart. I believe Billy Epler is a weak general manager. I believe his legacy of failure, despite top-level talent in Anaheim, is a proof of that. And I believe that he was not only responsible for the failure to consummate the Correa deal, but also is probably chiefly responsible for being overly conservative and slow with Alvarez now. And now his hand has been forced. And I love it. I'm all about it. I think this guy is going to shine, but I do think there's a chance that he's just not up here because of service time restrictions. And that's just wrong, especially for a team that's supposedly trying to win something. This is a great development for the Mets coming out of, not good news. It's never good news when one of your players gets hurt, but it's great news when the player that gets hurt is less talented than the player that will be replacing him that you wanted there in the first place. So I'm really excited about this. I really, really am. And we'll see how he plays. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I think that it's going to be something that's certainly going to be well discussed in local radio over these next, I don't know, 2 weeks, month, maybe more. It depends how much he plays and how long he plays. But in the lineup tonight for the Mets, this according to Fantasy Alarm, the projected lineup is not Alvarez. It is Thomas Nido, which, that just sucks. They're playing the Marlins today. That game begins in about an hour and 40 minutes, just after 1 o'clock. Mets are favored in this one at home. Your pitching matchup, you have Cabrera for the Marlins going against McGill for the Mets. Couple of guys to keep an eye on here. Brandon Nimmo hits Cabrera very well. Lifetime 3 of 6 against him. Francisco Lindor does not hit him well. Just 1 of 9 lifetime. Pete Alonso does hit him well, though. A lot of power numbers. 3 hits, all of them home runs and 8 at-bats, 5 RBIs against Cabrera. And Mark Canha in limited action against him has done pretty well, too. Jeff McNeil and Francisco Lindor, though, both 1 for 9 lifetime against Cabrera. So a little up and down with this Mets lineup today. If I were you, if I was betting this game, I would be putting some type of bet, maybe on a prop bet on Pete Alonso to hit a home run in this one and Nimmo to get a hit. That might be a nice double parlay there, a 2-legged parlay. And I would take the Mets to win. I would do it a 3-legged parlay. I would stack it like that. Nimmo to get a hit, Alonso to get a home run, Mets to win. You'll get some good odds that way. The Mets probably going to win this game with power if they win it at all. On the other side of things, you have the Marlins who have hit McGill pretty well up and down this lineup, albeit with limited experience. The guy with the most experience, Jazz Chisholm, has 3 hits and 5 at-bats against McGill. Luis Alvarez is 3 for 3 lifetime against him. And the only other guy with 3 or the other 2 with 3 or more attempts, was 3. Segura, Cooper, and Soler are 0 for 3, 0 for 3, and 1 for 7. Segura is the one with the lone hit in 7 attempts. So, again, both teams have some guys who have hit the other pitcher well, some that haven't. So, hey, I think the Mets win this game, but I'm really bummed that I'm going to be watching Nido most likely versus Alvarez. We'll see when he makes it to the big club. Mets lineup, in case you're wondering, the projected lineup: Brandon Nimmo, Starlin Marte, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Mark Canha, Vogelbach in the 7-hole, Escobar in the 8-hole, and Nido catching and batting 9th. I am concerned about the Escobar at third thing. I still believe we need a power hitting third baseman. We needed Carlos Correa. We just did. I really, truly believe that. And they didn't get him. It's that simple. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll wrap up the show with a little bit of a replay. We have the OC Smash, their coaches. If you want to take a listen, we played it in the beginning of the hour, but if you missed it, we'll play it again now. the Gary Ayd Show, and that'll do it for us. After that interview plays, we'll have Rick Tittle next here on The Cave, and we'll see you again on Monday, the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.